I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is make
It's time for another conversation. Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. I'm Noreen Delia. This time around, we're talking with Yvette Weir. She's a dentist, author, creative, and also an entrepreneur. And she wrote a book on relationships. It's called The Relationship Playbook for Women. 7 questions to ask your soulmate. Now, what we're going to be talking about this time is working on your personal LLC in a season of singleness. LLC, Yvette, what does that mean?
So in its strictest sense, limited liability corporation, but what I always, and that's, a form of a business designation, but I want to use it in a personal way, because I want us to think of ourselves as a living LLC, and that it's something that we want to invest in ourselves for a lifetime.
Okay. All right. But you specifically said in a season of singleness, or well, that's what we're going to be talking about. How so?
Well, I thought it was a great title, but it doesn't have to be limited for sure.
Okay.
Because I want us to always be working on ourselves. I want us to always be investing in ourselves. I want the man to come along or the woman to come along and realize, you got a lot going on. And a lot going on as in there's so many layers to you. There's so many facets to you. You shine brilliantly. And that doesn't happen by chance. That doesn't. We get busy as we get older. We have kids, some of us, and to still take time, whether it's 10% of your time for the week or 50%, to invest on things that make you, I'm going to say like that Proverbs 31 woman. She was an entrepreneur. She was industrial. Okay. She was one to rise early, and so on and so forth. That's intentionality. So to work on yourself is to be intentional. So when that individual comes along, they either see you working on yourself, and they might be just really, wow, that looks really good. If my body looks really good, it's because this just didn't happen by chance. It's because I spend 3 or 4 days in the gym, or because I'm a cyclist, or because you're a hiker. You're taking care of yourself. You're not leaving that to chance.
Okay. I want you to be a bit more specific. You've alluded to it in terms of the physical, but be a bit more specific. When you say work on yourself, invest in yourself, specifically, and we are going to keep it in the season of singleness, because I think it is important, because more often than not, especially as females, I think females more than anything else, they probably feel a pressure even more than males, because when you get to a certain age, people ask, what is wrong with you? Why you're not married yet? So it takes a certain kind of female, because at my age, I'm not bothered by that anymore, because I recognize that in life, not all of us will get married, and if so, so be it. But not everybody's there. So I really want us to stick with that. So be specific. Work on yourself. Invest on yourself. How? Physical. Okay. Yes. What else?
Okay. So for example, we all are working anywhere from 32 to 40 hours a week. And let's just say you have a 9-to-5 job. I know some people have a 7-to-7 and different variations around the clock. But let's just say you have a 9-to-5 job. And you work Monday to Friday. And so you come home and you're going to get yourself something to eat. And then what do you do? What do you do? You have another, let's say you get home and you're finished eating by 6 or 6:30. If you do that right away, that's assuming that your commute might be 30 minutes or less.
Right.
Because some people have an hour plus commute, and then we're talking about eating at 8, but anywhere from say like 7 to 11. Okay. Most adults probably go to bed somewhere between 10 and 11. Then you have a choice. What are you doing with yourself? Are you just going to chill, Netflix and chill? Are you going to just hang out on the phone with friends? What are you going to do? You have 3-4 days that you can be doing something. So yes, a lot of people are in the gym. A lot of people are concerned, especially men, but not to miss out on our women as well. You have to decide, like, for example, right now I have this community college not too far from me. And I am thinking for myself, I might take a math class. And you say math class, like, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. I just feel like I didn't really get it. Right? I didn't really get it. And I took math classes because I had to get to where I was, but I don't think I really got it. So my desire is to do a calculus class. Yep. And I just need to do one, and that's fine. My father died when he had Alzheimer's. And so sometimes that is at the back of my mind as well, that I will continue to keep myself stimulated, because the more you can, it's the more you can stave off something like that. If it's familial or genetic, I don't think it is for the most part. So calculus is something on the back of my mind, or, on my burner as something I want to do. I want to also do something in the creative realm. I paint, but I've never really actually had formal painting or drawing lessons, right? Okay. So there's my community college again, right? There's meetup. There's just so many things that you can do to enrich yourself. So when I say working on yourself, it's like, beyond your healthcare, beyond your teaching, beyond your small business that you're doing, what else that makes you more multifaceted or multidimensional? Because yes, I'm in dentistry and I can take more, I'm required to take a certain amount of continuing education classes. And some people have license that they have to upkeep, but that's not the only thing. I will never, and a lot of people, because I've lived in Maryland for so long, a lot of people identify me as Yvette the dentist, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more to me, and a lot more that I want to do, right? Such as listening out for things that stimulate my brain also. Not maybe, okay, so going to community college is a whole semester long affair. But there's a music for medicine, or as medicine class coming up that I have my eyes on, and just anything of a cultural nature. Now, maybe somebody else's thing is knitting. Maybe it's learning another language, things that create more synaptic connections in our brains are good things. And, just things that can, you meet new groups of people also. So it expands your friend circle as you do other things outside of just things in your home, and you do them for a continuous level. Like if I were to go to the community college, I'm automatically going to be sitting in with another 6 to 10 people that I didn't know before. Now, for myself as an extrovert, I love that. For somebody else, it might be like, I don't necessarily need to meet any more people, but hey, different strokes for different folks. But either way, I encourage each and every one of us to be actively doing things that stimulate us in various ways.
What do you think it's so important, though, specifically as a single person? Yes, we need to do that, but why do you think it is even more so important while somebody is single?
I think it's even more important because it gives us our own sense of purpose and our own designated thing that we do. Because especially if you don't have any children, you're just by yourself. Once you leave work or church, if you're in church, you're just by yourself. So what if you said, okay, 2 or 3 times a week, I'm working on various things, not to stretch yourself out now. I feel like we do need to leave some space and some breathing space for opportunities to volunteer or opportunities to rest if we have been pushing hard. But I just think it's important to keep ourselves socially active, keep ourselves mentally active, keep ourselves engaged. And to be honest, and more interesting. Just more interesting, you know, because it's like, I meet you and so what? You're wealthy? That's it? Really? What else? You know, or let's not even say wealthy. Okay, so you're comfortable. That's it. So you just work hard. What else do you do? What else do you do? Because I do a lot. And then I want to share with you, like, okay, so what are you into? So tell me more about, please let it be something other than golf, but tell me more about whatever else you're involved in. You know, like I met somebody once and he said, guess what I'm doing now? I'm like, what? He says, I am raising honey and bees and stuff. Like, that is way cool. Like honey is such an important commodity, and the whole beekeeping and stuff.
Yes.
That was really interesting, you know?
I alluded to it earlier though, the whole idea that sometimes more than even men, women are even pressured, so to speak, in terms of ensuring that they get married. How do you think that mindset can be shifted for them to be more comfortable, work in their singlehoodness or their singleness, and get to the mindset, you know, yes, I'm not waiting, because some people think that, okay, you just need to occupy time where you're waiting rather than just, as you're saying, working on yourself. So we're going to get an answer to that question though, right after we take a short break and get a word from our partners.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
I recently have been coached by the great Miss Noreen Daly. I own a video company. I'm also an online influencer. So I do a lot of speaking virtually and in person. She was able to point out some of my weaknesses that I didn't yet notice. And I 100% recommend Miss Noreen Daly as your coach.
Noreen Daly, redefining the way you communicate.
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics, or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Body program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at landolanguage@gmail.com, because the real question is, how can we help you?
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
So more often than not, females think that they need to quote unquote occupy themselves until that man comes. But for you, you're saying no, work on yourself. What can be done though, Yvette, to kind of just shift the mindset so females become a little bit more comfortable in their singleness?
That's a good question. Because if you probed a person really deeply, do you want to be single? Or are we single because we have no choice? What I would say though is, to me, occupying and working on myself, it's a way of being, a way of life. It's like taking care of my body and exercising and being healthy and strong. It's a way of life. And so I move every day in some way. I walked to work today, and that's about 35, 40 minutes away. And I walk back home because if I rise early enough and I get my breakfast and lunch ready, that I have time, I would do that. I would do that almost every day because I know that it's doing so much good for me. It's a way of life. I will move every day until I die, whenever that is, right? And so working on myself and looking for opportunities to enhance and work even with the gifts that God has given me, it's just a way of life. And so I would say to the individual who's single, make working on yourself just a way of life, right? And you will find enjoyment. And I believe, and everybody's thing that they're interested in could be different. You know, somebody might have a lot of interest in finances, and so they might, you know, maybe they're a realtor part-time, or maybe they are just wanting to know more about how to be financially secure, which, by the way, I think is very important for us as single women, because sometimes we outsource that to our men, right? And then the men are no longer around. And then it's like, whoops, we don't know. We don't know anything about that. And that's very important. So let's just put a plug in for financial literacy. But whatever stream might call you, like someone might be into cooking, they're excellent cooks. And then they say, you know what, I want to learn how to do vegan, plant-based cooking. I didn't grow up that way. Or I want to learn how to make really healthy baked goods and baking treats and stuff. I want to learn how to do things like my mom or my grandma used to do, you know? And then because I am so communal in the way I think, I'm like, well, who else wants to learn this with me? You know what I mean? That's how I ended up hiking last weekend on a like 10 o'clock at night. I just reached out to 6 or 7 of my friends in the area, Noreen. I said, hey, who wants to go hiking? And 2 of them went with me. They're like, man, Yvette, this was great. Like, when can we hike again? Because life could be so much better with friends, you know?
Yes. I agree with you, because I find that it's quite tempting, because we're still operating virtually. Because in my other life, I'm an educator, as you know, and I find that sometimes when I go home, I don't even want to look at my computer. I just want to just shut it down. And sometimes I even end up in front of my TV. And recently I found myself saying, rather than just sitting for hours, just doing something literally mindless. Because TV is a mindless activity.
Yes, it is.
I found myself, spending like an hour or so just trying to just build my business, my side hustle. And I said, if I do this consistently over a period, because I told myself I would, but then sometimes because of how I come in and how I feel, I'm like, nah. And I find that just little steps. So even if you come in and even half an hour, 1 hour, just do something else, whether it's building your side hustle, whether it's just doing something else. And I said, baby steps, baby steps.
Yes.
Baby steps. And people, go ahead.
I think I appreciate what you say, because sometimes a person might look on and they might say, for example, myself, Yvette, you're always on the move. Nobody can keep up with you. You're just moving so fast. But one, I've been doing this for a really long time, like all my life. So it's an all my life thing for me. But baby steps in terms of, like, I'll say that my habit of not watching TV began with my first child. And I was putting him to bed at the time that I used to watch Jeopardy. And I said, well, it's more important to make sure that he gets into bed between 7:30 and 8, which was the exact time of Jeopardy. And so by the time I'm finished for, 6, 9, 10 months working on that, I don't have any time. I don't have any interest anymore. I don't even own a TV anymore. So it's totally gone. So the baby step of Prioritizing what was
Mhm.
important,
Mhm.
took out what was really not as important after all, you know? And so what I liked about Jeopardy is it challenged my brain. Now I can find other things to challenge me, right? And I no longer have that mindless habit. I watch a movie here and there, or if I travel, most of the times when I look at TV briefly, if I do, might be when I'm in a hotel room, you know, other than that, it's completely gone. But we take small steps.
Yes.
And small steps, working on yourself, working on your business, just small steps towards working on our health. There are a lot of people in their 40s, 40 plus, 50 plus they're not healthy. They're not healthy at all. Lifestyle diseases have crept up because of not taking care earlier on in life, right? So even that in itself, prioritizing health, and you know, I can't say that word, so I'm going to try not to say it again. Making important health choices it is very key. It's very, very key. Sometimes when I think of going out with someone, some of my, you know, girlfriends might want to dress up and, you know, beat the face and blah, blah, blah. You know what I want to do? I want to take them on a hike. I want to take them on a walk. I want to see some steps. I want to go up the steps. I want to listen to you. Because if you can't walk at my pace, and I'm not that tall, I'm 5'8", but I'm not like 5'11" or 6 feet. If you can't walk at my pace and your legs are longer than mine, if you can't walk and talk, if you can't climb up those hills or even the stairs, and I don't hear you, then we're not on the same level. Because I've been taking care of myself. I've been working on me.
Yeah. As we're wrapping up, how can you stay motivated? Because yes, you start out and you're like, you know, like the whole idea sometimes at the beginning of the year, say, oh, I'm going to do this. After 2-3 months, life happens. How can you just stay motivated working on yourself, even though you know in the end, you're the one who ultimately benefits?
Right. I think it's helpful to have an accountability partner, a coach or a trainer. So saying, you know, I've talked a lot about working out probably in this conversation, and people outside know that I do work out, but I just got a trainer again, because when my birthday turns around in the beginning of the year, I want to be like buff, buff, buff. And so I'm like, let me just get somebody real quick. Let me just pay somebody. Sometimes we follow our money. We usually do not pay hundreds of dollars for anything and waste it, unless you have thousands where that came from to waste, right? But you say, I don't have any disposable for that right now. Okay, it's probably the best, to be honest, because we really don't waste our money. But find a girlfriend, you know, find a guy friend, find somebody who can hold you accountable, or find a group like I do. We didn't mention that I do retreats, but I do retreats about 2 to 4 times for the year. I have done them all in Maryland, but I'm getting ready to branch out and to probably do New Jersey, New York, or even Arizona. I have a real interest in bringing a retreat to Arizona. So I am trying to attract the over 40 crowd. I'm trying to bring leadership, adventure, women empowerment. Sometimes the retreats might be women only. And so that's a space and place of like-minded, faith-based individuals who come together and form for that weekend our own community. And it thrills me when people intentionally network and find friendships that go beyond my Wild at Heart LLC, which is my business, Wild at Heart. You can find me on Instagram under Audacious Retreats. But it thrills me when people go beyond Wild at Heart, beyond me, and they find their own friendships, because that's another thing. When you have community that holds you up to the standards of whatever it is that you're into, living healthily, you know, having having a certain core values of people that are on that same level, then that's also something that can help to motivate you. And when that motivation, I think it is when when you lack the motivation, then you need to kick in with discipline. It's like, I'm doing this because I'm waking up early. I'm going out because I just have to. For example, for myself, because I say I move every day, Noreen, if I know that I'm going to travel, for example, probably the walking in the airport might get some of the steps or whatever, especially if there's just really no time to do anything else. Okay, that's taken care of, the active parking wherever I am and walking from here and then pulling something all the time. But I literally map out in my mind's eye, okay, when do I work out? Not necessarily the gym, but just when do I work out? Whatever it is, biking, running, walking, whatever it is. Is it in the morning today? Or am I going to have time during my lunch break or at some point before I go to sleep? When am I fitting that in? So I think after a while, I mean, in the very beginning, having a coach, having a trainer, having a girlfriend, a guy friend to hold you accountable, having a tribe that you meet up with, fine. But I promise you, after a while, when you see the results of how you feel, when you see the results of better cooking, better numbers, when you go to your doctor, you have better numbers because of what you've been doing. That in itself is its own reward, and it's self-perpetuating.
Living intentionally.
Absolutely.
Living intentionally. Thank you so much for sharing, Yvette.
You're welcome.
This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives.